ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरये। नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवतीरुत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवती नैष्टिकी। ॐ ज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपकदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामीनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभो नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण। रीडिंग फ्रॉम श्रीमद् भागवतम। By His divine grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. We are reading from Canto 4, Chapter 12, chanting of the song sung by Lord Shiva, that is Rudra Gita. We are in the first section of this chapter, and this first section is from text 1 to 15, where Prithuvamsha is being described. So, yesterday we have seen son of Maharaj Prithu, Vijitashva, Antardhan, and his son Havirdan, and now we continue from there. Text 12. विबुधासुरगन्धर्व मुनिसिद्धर ननोरगा विजिता सूर्यया दिक्षु क्वन्वयन्त्यैव नूपुरैः. Translation.
While Chaturthi was thus being married, the demons, the denizens of Gandharvaloka, the great sages, and the denizens of Siddhaloka, the earthly planets and Nagaloka, although highly exalted, were all captivated by the tinkling of her ankle bells. Purport. Generally, a woman becomes more beautiful when, after an early marriage, she gives birth to a child. To give birth to a child is the natural function of a woman, and therefore a woman becomes more and more beautiful as she gives birth to one child after another. In the case of Shatadruti, however, she was so beautiful that she attracted the whole universe at her marriage ceremony. Indeed, she attracted all the learned and exalted demigods simply by tinkling of her ankle bells. This indicates that all the demigods wanted to see her beauty completely, but they were not able to see it because she was fully dressed and covered with ornaments. Since they could only see the feet of Shatadruti, they became attracted by her ankle bells, which tinkled as she walked. In other words, the demigods became captivated by her simply by hearing the tinkling of her ankle bells. They did not have to see her complete beauty. It is sometimes understood that a person becomes lusty just by hearing the tinkling of bangles on the hands of women, or the tinkling of ankle bells, or just by seeing a woman's sari. Thus, it is concluded that woman is the complete representation of Maya. Although Vishwamitra Muni was engaged in practicing mystic yoga with closed eyes, his transcendental meditation was broken when he heard the tinkling of bangles on the hands of Menaka. In this way, Vishwamitra Muni became a victim of Menaka and fathered a child who is universally celebrated as Shakuntala. The conclusion is that no one can save himself from the attraction of woman, even though he be an exalted demigod or an inhabitant of the higher planets. Only a devotee of the Lord who is attracted by Krishna can escape the lures of women. Once one is attracted by Krishna, the illusory energy of the world cannot attract him. Hare Krishna.
So, since now when we are discussing about Havirdhan's marriage, so we know that Havirdhan was very powerful son of Barhishat, who later came to know as Prachina Barhishat. And in his marriage, he was married to Shatadruti, daughter of Varunadev. And now this marriage is still being described. How the previous verse describes about Agni Dev got completely captivated by the beauty of Shatadruti, just like he was previously attracted to Shuki, but somehow his wife Swaha saved Agni by taking form of Shuki. And Agni thought he's enjoying with Shuki, but he was actually enjoying with Swaha. And when he came back to senses, he was very grateful to Swaha. Now the same theme continues here. While Shatadruti was thus being married, everybody from the universe got attracted to her. The demons, great sages, the denizens of the Siddhaloka, Nagaloka, and all higher planetary systems, all were captivated by the twinkling of her ankle bells. Right. In the purport, Srila Prabhupada describes generally a woman becomes more beautiful after an early marriage and gives birth to a child at appropriate age. So, although it is written in a in the continuum, that doesn't mean that she gives birth to a child at an early age. No, marriage is early, so that men and women they are fixed on each other, and then generally the child will the daughter will go back to the father's house to stay, and when she attains puberty, again she will be sent. And then Prabhupada writes to give birth to a child, right, is a natural function of a woman. So one day, somebody asked Prabhupada, one, the feminist, and Prabhupada's reply was very beautiful. Prabhupada said, yes, men and women, they are equal, but they are not same. And Prabhupada said, just like man, whatever man does, man can never become pregnant. Okay, of course, now gender transformation and all other stupidity also can be done, but naturally man can never become pregnant. So motherhood is the natural prerogative only of the womanhood. And therefore, a woman becomes more and more beautiful as she gives birth to one child after another. And therefore, this Bahuputra is concept is there in the Vedas, right? So it is always being called as Ashtaputra Saubhagyavati Bhava, right? Modern India, we always talked about Chota Parivar, Sukhi Parivar, and such a demographic change in India now. Not only India, all across the world. And more the world is atheistic, more so. Like South Korea, Japan, they are on the verge of extinction. Birth rate is there, slipped down before the even the natural growth rate. Just to maintain the existing population, per couple, they need 2.1 children. That means every 10 couples should have 21 children minimum. But now, because of the propaganda and people also the concept of raising the child to become dharmic personalities is all going. This is one of the symptom of Kali Yuga. Elon Musk repeatedly talks about this that the decline in the population. He has his own reasons, and but the point he always mentions is a decline in the population. And in fact, we were also quite very confused initially. Nowadays we have a great clarity. Everybody is now talking about more children. So whenever a married couple comes, we very clearly tell them as early as many. Don't wait that your wife has to complete this education, you have to get a promotion, you have to have a 2 BHK flat and everything else. No. Every child comes with a destiny. And then the natural example we give is just look at your brother or sister. You are, you know, your same father and mother, but you have complete different destination or complete different destiny compared to your brother or sister, good or bad, whatever it is, because you came with your own destiny. Similarly, child comes with his or her own destiny, and therefore, devotees nowadays we tell people that minimum three, four is better. Of course, it is easier said than done. At the same time, Vedas never talk about having less children. Vedas always talk about Bahuputra, right? And this gives beauty to the woman. What that means is motherhood is highly beautiful. Right nowadays, people in the name of maintaining themselves, there is a inclination, tendency toward avoiding motherhood. But that is not the case. The completeness of a woman, again, it may sound very misogynistic or something, but I'm just reading from Srila Prabhupada's purport as it is. So the lady becomes far more beautiful by being a mother. Again, there is a lot of other things to do this. I mean, but the point here is that we have to take this at least whenever we are guiding the new people, new couples, and everything else. We should keep this in mind. I to tell very clearly that one of the greatest mistake in my life was to have one child. Of course, we had our own family, medical reasons, and everything else. But the best gift that you can give to your child to have a sibling, and this way very clearly tell to those devotees who come for any guidance. Back to twinkling of her ankle bells, demigods wanted to see the complete beauty of, uh, you know, Shatadruti, but she was fully dressed, and they were simply happy looking at the twinkling of the ankle bells. And Prabhupada writes here, this is the captivating feature of a woman for a man and for a man to a woman. And this is the power of Maya can represent if one is not careful. In fact, third canto we have read that verse. Balam me pashyamayayam stri maya jahino disham ka karoti padakrantan bhruvijrumbhena kevalam. Look at the enchanting potency of my Maya in the form of a woman for a man and in the form of a man to a woman. Right? Ka karoti padakrantan bhruvijrumbhena kevalam. Simply by the movement of the eyebrows, a Padakranta king can be controlled and made to the dance to the tune of her eyebrows. And so this is, uh, you know, this was the extreme beauty of Shatadruti, and where everybody was madly attracted towards her, but they maintained the civil sense, and this is how they are mentioned in Srimad Bhagavatam. Text 13. प्राचीन बर्हिषा पुत्रा शतद्रुत्यां दशाभवन् तुल्यनामृतां सर्वे धर्मस्नाताः प्रचेतसः. Translation.
Translation: King Prachinabarahi begot 10 children in the womb of Satadruti. All of them were equally endowed with religiosity, and all of them were known as Prasetas. Purport: the word Dharmasnataha is significant, for the 10 children were all merged in the practice of religion. In addition, they possessed all good qualities. One is supposed to be perfect when one is perfectly religious, perfect in the execution of one's vows to render devotional service, perfect in knowledge, perfect in good behavior, and so on. All the prasetas were on the same level of perfection. Hare Krishna.
So their son, now sometimes the dynasty itself is known as Prachina Barhi, but here the Prachina Barhi means the son of Prachina Barhishat, that is Havirdhan. Okay, Antardhan, son of Prachina Barhi's son, and then progressively we are discussing the Vamsha there, and now we are coming and stopping at Prachetas. Once I had asked one question to Radhisham Prabhu, that why this Vamshavali is given, and then he gave a very beautiful answer. He said that just like there is one dynasty, and then his son was this son was this son was this son was this, and his son was, say, Mudit Krishna Prabhu, and he became a great devotee. So, so they will explain the son after son after son until a one particular personality is hit, where who is very famous, and then they will be explained in detail. So one line about one personality, if something is to be mentioned, but then they will come to a pastime. This is how Bhagavatam Vamshavali works. Bhagavatam Vamshavali will stop as soon as there is a great personality born in that dynasty, and then there will be description. Dharmasnata. Dharmasnata means they are perfected personalities in the practice of religion, practice of dharma, and especially rendering one's vows of devotional service. Dasha Bhavan, these 10 personalities are known as Prachetas. Okay. Text 14. पित्रादिष्टा प्रजा सर्गे तपसेर्णव अभाविशन् दशवर्षसहस्राणि तपसाश्चार्य तपस्पतिम्. Translation.
When all these Prachitas were ordered by their father to marry and beget children, they all entered the ocean and practiced austerities and penances for 10,000 years. Thus, they worshipped the master of all austerity, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Purport: sometimes great sages and ascetics enter the Himalaya mountains in order to find seclusion from the turmoil of the world. It appears, however, that all the Prachetas, the son of Prachinabhari, entered the depth of the ocean to perform austerity in the secluded place. Since they performed austerity for 10,000 years, then this incident took place in the Satya Yuga, when people used to live for 100,000 years. It is also significant that by their austerity, they worshipped the master of austerity, Sri Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. If one wants to perform austerities and penances in order to attain the supreme goal, one must attain the favor from the Supreme Personality of Godhead. If one achieves the favor of the Supreme Lord, it is to be understood that he has finished all kinds of austerities and penances and has attained efficiency in their execution. On the other hand, if one does not attain the perfect stage of devotional service, all austerities and penances actually have no meaning, for without the Supreme Lord, no one can attain the highest result derived from performing them. As stated in Bhagavad Gita 5.29, Lord Shri Krishna is the master of all penances and sacrifice. Bhoktaram yagya tapasam sarvaloka maheshwaram. Thus, the desired result of performing austerities may be derived from Lord Krishna. In Srimad Bhagavatam 3.33.7,
Yeah.
it is stated,
अहो बतस्व पचतो गरीयान् यज्जिह्वाग्रे वर्तते नाम तुभ्यम् ते पुस्तपस्ते जुहुविष्णुसुरार्य ब्रह्माणुचुर्नाम गृह्णन्ति ये ते.
even if a person is born in a family of Chandalas, the lowest birth one can get in human society, he is glorious if he chants the holy names of the Lord. For it is to be understood that by such chanting, a devotee definitely proves that he underwent all kinds of austerities in his previous life. By the grace of Lord Chaitanya, one who chants the Mahamantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, attains the highest perfectional stage, which had previously been attained by people who entered the ocean and executed austerities for 10,000 years. In this age of Kali, if a person does not take advantage of chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra, which is offered as great concession to the fallen human beings of this age, it is to be understood that he is very much bewildered by the illusionary energy of the Lord. Hare Krishna.
All these prachetas, they were ordered by their father, right? Now, they were ordered by their father to marry and beget children. And especially for the task of Prachina Barhi, he himself was a Prajapati, was to populate the universe, and therefore, but before that, he advised them to go and purify themselves in the form of performing tapasya. They entered the ocean and practiced the sacrifice. Now, ocean is very close to them, very dear to them, because they were in the kula of the ocean. Their mother is the daughter of the ocean. So they went to their, the grandfather's place, maternal grandfather ocean is, and practiced the austerities and the penances for 10,000 years. And through austerity, they wanted to worship the master of all austerities, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Tapasa, Acharan. So this is how In the purport, Srila Prabhupada explains that sometimes the great sages and ascetics enter the Himalayan mountain in order to find seclusion, and thus Prachetas, being very comfortable with ocean, they entered the ocean to perform austerities in the secluded place. And doing tapasya for 10,000 years, yes, they could do that because it was Satya Yuga. Satya Yuga has all different dimensions. People live for 1 lakh years. Out of this, they were doing tapasya for 10,000 years. And the purpose of tapasya is pleasure of the Supreme Lord. Srila Prabhupada quotes 2 shlokas that unless if the tapasya is performed for the pleasure of Bhoktaram Yajna Tapasam Sarva Loka Maheshwaram. Yat Karoshi, Yadashnasi, Yajjuhosi. So there also Lord, Krishna explains that all the tapasya, Yat tapasyasi kaunteya, tat kurushva madarpanam. All tapasya should be performed for the satisfaction of the Supreme Lord, Sri Vishnu. If tapasya is not performed like that, then there is no use of practically the show bottle tapasya. Aradhito yadi hari, tapasa tatha kim, naradhito yadi hari, tapasa tatha kim. So the purpose of tapasya is pleasure of the Supreme Lord. Just like purpose of everything. Yat karoshi, yadashnasi, yajjuhosi, tadasiyat, yat tapasyasi kaunteya. In the Kali Yuga, now Prabhupada writes, the highest tapasya is chanting the holy names. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And this tapasya can be performed by anyone and everyone, including Chandalas, who are the dog eaters, who are the lowest of the human beings. And Srila Prabhupada quotes the beautiful verse by Kapila Muni. Aho batas swapachoto gariyan yat jibhagre vartate namatubhyam. On that whose top of the tongue, jibhagre vartate namatubhyam. If somebody is chanting the holy names through one's tongue, it is to be understood that Tepus tapaste juhus nasurarya. It is understood that he has taken bath at all the holy places. It is understood that he has performed all kind of different austerities. Brahma anuchur naam granantiyete. And this is how he is now qualified to chant the holy names. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. What this means is, we do not need to invent some terrific tapasya. Prabhupada is writing for next 10,000 years. Somebody should not be inspired to go to the ocean, under ocean, and do some, tapasya under the ocean. Prabhupada says chanting the holy name is the greatest tapasya in Kali Yuga. And Bahavo Jnana Tapasa Puta Madhava Magata. By this process, many of them are purified in the past and attained to the spiritual world. So the process here in Kali Yuga specifically is chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra as instructed by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Text 15. Yaduktam pathi drishtena girishena prasidata tadhyayanto japantyascha pujantayascha sanyatah. Translation.
When all the sons of Prachina Barhi left home to execute austerities, they met Lord Shiva, who out of great mercy instructed them about the absolute truth. All the sons of Prachina Barhi meditated upon the instructions, chanting and worshipping them with great care and attention. Purport. It is clear that to perform austerities or penances, or for that matter, any form of devotional service, one has to be guided by a spiritual master. Here it is clearly stated that the 10 sons of Maharaj Prachina Barhi were favored by the appearance of Lord Shiva, who out of great kindness gave them instructions regarding the execution of austerities. Lord Shiva actually became the spiritual master of the 10 sons, and in turn, his disciples took his words so seriously that simply by meditating upon his instructions, dhyayantaha, they became perfect. This is the secret of the success. After being initiated and receiving the order of the spiritual master, the disciple should unhesitatingly think about the instructions or orders of the spiritual master and should not allow himself to be disturbed by anything else. This is also the verdict of Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, who, while explaining the verse of Bhagavad Gita beginning, Vyavasayatmika buddhir ekeha kurunandana, Bhagavad Gita 2.41, points out that the order of the spiritual master is the life substance of the disciple. The disciple should not consider whether he is going back home, back to Godhead. His first business should be to execute the order of his spiritual master. Thus, a disciple should always meditate on the order of spiritual master, and that is perfectional meditation. Not only should he meditate upon that order, but he should find out the means by which he can perfectly worship and execute it.
While the sons of Prachina Barhi, these 10 Prachetas, when they left home to execute the austerities, they met Lord Shiva. Now, this entire whole thing is summarized in one verse. Out of great mercy and austerity, Lord Shiva instructed them, and by meditating dhyayantaha on the instructions of spiritual master, japantaha, by chanting the instructions which were Rudra Gita, and pujayantam, with great care and attention, they attained ultimate perfection. In the purport, Srila Prabhupada explains, it is clear that to perform any austerity or penance or devotional service, one has to be guided by the spiritual master. So this is not any whimsical process. One has to be guided by the spiritual master. And this here, the 10 sons of Maharaj Prachina Barhi were favored by the appearance of Lord Shiva, which is extremely rare. Right? Lord Shiva appearing. Lord Shiva actually became the spiritual master, and thus, simply by meditating on the instruction, dhyayantaha, of the spiritual master, they became perfect. And Srila Prabhupada writes that therefore it is very important. A disciple should not consider himself, worry about whether I will go back home, back to Godhead or not. One's worry should be to follow the instructions of the spiritual master. Right? This is very important. And Srila Prabhupada exemplified this. Srila Prabhupada received the instruction in 1922. You are a educated young man, you should preach in English in the Western world. And the same instruction was repeated in 1936 when Prabhupada wrote a letter to Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati. 1 week before departure of Siddhanta Saraswati, he wrote back to Srila Prabhupada, giving the same instruction that this will do good to you and to your audience. Preach in English, especially to the Western speaking world. Paschatya Deshatarive. And Srila Prabhupada says, I could not act on the instruction for a very long time. Then Prabhupada was Grihastha, having many children, many responsibilities, struggling Grihastha financially, changed one place after another, 6 places he changed his job, his factory. And finally, in 1966, after 44 years, he left for America. Till then, Prabhupada says, I was always meditating on the instruction of my spiritual master. Tadhyayanto japantascha pujayantascha sanyata. Right. Sanyata. With great patience, Srila Prabhupada was meditating like this. And then Srila Prabhupada quotes Siddhanta Bhakti, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, that one has to follow like this. The instructions of the spiritual master should become life and soul for a disciple. Vyavasayatmika buddhir ekeha kurunandana. Where to receive the instructions of the spiritual master? From the classes of the spiritual master. Right. And one has, so what essentially means is we have to follow these basic instructions, chanting 16 rounds of Hare Krishna Mahamantra, following 4 regulative principles, and then, the Vaishnava Sadachar, Seva, Siddhanta, Sadhana. So this is the first business, Prabhupada writes, of a disciple, without worrying about one goes back home, back to Godhead or not. And one should try to do Yatha Shakti, Yatha Mati, as being instructed by one's spiritual master. So this is where the entire Rudra Gita is concluded. Now Vidura inquires. Vidura says, oh, wait, Maitreya Muni. How did they meet such a great personality, Lord Shiva? You just said in one line, they met Lord Shiva, became spiritual master, they followed instruction, perfected their life. Wow, what happened? How did they meet Lord Shiva? What did Lord Shiva instruct to them? How did they follow the instruction of Lord Shiva that actually pleased the Supreme Lord? And what did Supreme Lord speak to? So all these inquiry were further made by Vidura, and this is how the complete Rudra Gita is being presented. So we will conclude here and continue tomorrow. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Thank you, Prabhupada. Thank you, everyone. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhupada. Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you, everyone. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhupada. Thank you, everyone. Hare Krishna. प्रभू
Thank
एक
you,
प्रश्न होता
Prabhupada. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Ah, yes, Prabhu.
प्रचेता म्हणजे काय?
Prachetas. So these are the names of the sons of Prachina Barhi. Pra is intensifier. Okay, pra is intensifier means anything you want to say very, that is pra. Okay. So prachetaha is, we have to find out exact etymological meaning of prachetaha. But chetana is consciousness. Pracheta means very intense people, intensified their consciousness. Pracheta is a name. Right?
Okay, Prabhu.
Yeah. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Hare
Thank you,
Krishna.
Prabhupada.
Thank you, Prabhupada. Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you, Prabhupada.